It's the first time ever, too, if I'm not mistaken. I think I saw this on a WEEI article by you, that a team loses an MVP at QB and then signs a new MVP QB in the same offseason. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's kind of a crazy stat to think about, but I mean, it's not really so often that a team loses an MVP, and then brings in a new, like, it's just never going to happen. Like, teams don't make MVPs available. So Cam's in a different circumstance, obviously, with the injuries, but he was available for a 1-year incentive-laden minimum deal, and that's just Bill Belichick. He sees value out there, and he grabbed it.
Absolutely. We're going to dive right into that. Exactly. I mean, why not start off with Cam? Although I do, before we consider, him, his prospects within the scheme, how it all happened, why it all happened, what is this kind of, I love the article you just published yesterday called "The Patriots Continue to Send Mixed Messages for 2020, and the first line of it asks, what exactly are the Patriots trying to do in 2020? So, Ryan, what's the answer to that question? What are they doing?
I don't think that they know. I think that they're like kind of playing both sides of the fence here. Like, some of the moves that they've done this offseason say that they're looking forward to seeing what Jarrett Stidham is and maybe having one eye towards the next couple of years, where other moves are, they want to be just right where they were the last 20 years. They want to compete for the Super Bowl. And the Cam Newton signing is sort of one of those mixed messages. What happened to all spring? Jarrett Stidham's our guy. We want to see what he has. Like, this year is all about seeing what Stidham is. And then you bring in Cam Newton, and Cam Newton's not coming here to be backup. Like, there's no way he'd be the backup. If Stidham beats him out, the Patriots would cut him. So, it sends a mixed message there, and then you can go down the line with bringing back Matthew Slater, Devin McCourty. Then you're getting rid of Deron Harmon. Then you're, drafting Kyle Duggar, and, you're trading out of the first round and picking a Division II guy with a first-round pick. You're franchising Joe Tooney with a lot of money when you're already against the cap. So it's just a lot of mixed messages. So I think the Patriots are on both sides of the fence here. Going to see how things play out. Maybe if Newton has a great preseason, they're all in. If Newton has a bad preseason and they go with Stidham, maybe they're back to where they were, where they're having, they're going to compete for the playoffs, but also have an eye towards 2021, 2022.
Do you, just the Ryan Hannable stamp of approval, do you give the move your stamp, or are you kind of like, what are they thinking, and, this is just going to be a hindrance to Jarrett Stidham's development? Because I know last time we talked, you were real excited that they were finally committed to seeing what this kid had.
I understand why they did it, just because of the value, but I don't really like it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, like, I'm definitely the minority, and, like, I'm not, like, I don't think it's a lock that Newton starts week 1. Like, I don't know if it's 50-50. I mean, Newton probably has the advantage. It's probably more, 60-40, 70-30, but I wouldn't discount things maybe not working out as people think, and Jarrett Stidham's actually the quarterback week 1 and Newton gets cut. I mean, I think the more likelihood is that Newton's the starter, and it's another year for Stidham to learn and develop, but I don't think it's a lock that Newton starts week 1.
And I think a lot of the reason that might not be a lock, there's the question of the fit here on a lot of different levels. So I think we can just start with that personality level, right? Because it's at minimum a culture clash, because Newton's such a big personality, often lauded as kind of a me-first, egocentric guy. Whether that's fair or not is another debate, but certainly a culture clash with how Belichick operates. So do you kind of expect that to present any problems, or do you think Newton will kind of be another soldier under Belichick?
I think he kind of has to be, just because of where he is in the situation. He's playing for his next contract. He signed a 1-year deal. He's only 31 years old. He's hoping for a great season and turn that into a 3 or 4 year deal for $80 million next offseason. But I don't hate to say it, but Cam Newton, he's kind of like, there has to be an I in his name because he's all about himself. But there's not. But it's just, you mentioned it, whether fair or not, he has that reputation. And even shining since the deal, like that YouTube video that was put out the other night, like that was, Cam Newton, all about Cam Newton. And I do wonder how he fits. I do think he knows what he's getting himself into, so he's going to change. But how does he fit in the locker room? How does he mesh with the veterans on the team, the Devin McCourtys, the Matthew Slaters, the Julian Edelmans? Does he mesh with them? Is he a leader like that, or does he sort of do his own thing? How does that work? Does he put in the time with his new receivers? How is he on the practice field? There's a lot of questions, I think, with Newton that everybody's sort of hoping that they work out, but I think that there's a chance that some of them might not.
I know tons of questions being raised very valid ones that you just posed there. It will be so interesting to see because I think it's going to be very clear one way or the other, right? Like within a month or so of him being in the organization,
Oh,
whether
totally.
this is going to work out. So that's the good news, and maybe we'll have you back on if you're willing to come on for the 15th time by that point over the summer to see how everything's going, how it's developing, how the battle's going. Intriguingly too, is beyond the personality part is the on-field fit, where Brady, it's all been about ball control, safe, accurate throws, occasional deep shots, but mostly dinking and ducking, letting the weapons do their work. And, we're now getting a guy whose career completion percentage, 59.6%. 6 of his 9 seasons have been under 60%. So it kind of seems like an odd, beyond just the personality fit, on-field fit. So how do you kind of expect this to mesh, and what kind of offense, if Cam does win this, do you expect them rolling out?
Well, I think they're going to change the offense no matter who is at quarterback. Like, it's not going to be the Tom Brady offense. It's going to be the Jarrett Stidham / Cam Newton offense with a lot of, mobile concepts with rollouts and having more of a, athletic type, deal with your concepts and things like that. But like you mentioned, Newton's not exactly who Tom Brady is, and he's not using what Josh McDaniels likes. He's not accurate. He's all over the place with the guys, and I think also he's been known. The Patriots, their bread and butter is these short, quick passes, over the middle of Edelman and everybody else. And Newton's not. That's not his strength. He's more of a throw the ball down the field guy, and I don't know who the Patriots have that can really do that right now. I mean, I don't. You could make a case that Harry could be that guy. Like, that's certainly not Edelman's strength. Myers, who really knows what he is. Mohamed Sanu, not really. He's more of a possession receiver. So it'll be interesting to see how he fits with the receivers. The one guy I think that could benefit is Damiere Byrd. He's a speedy guy. He actually played with him in Carolina. So maybe they have a good connection. Like, that's the only speedster, I guess, on the roster that you could say. So it'll be interesting to see how they work things out. Maybe Devin Asiasi, the young tight end, has some things in his game that can make plays down the field, but it's just interesting to see how it'll play out because Cam's strengths are throwing the ball down the field, and the Patriots that haven't really showed a willingness to do that over the years.
I know. We'll see how that all plays out. I have faith McDaniels, a creative guy. He's molded to talents before. I look at like the Brissett, those two starts where it became a high school offense essentially over his game. So I expect definitely, as you're saying, it to evolve to Cam's strengths. There was one season, 2018, before he went down. He had a 68% completion percentage, and it was when they finally gave him, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, some decent weapons. That's the one thing I look at Cam is he's really had no one to throw to through his career. So as much as everyone's like, what's he going to do in fantasy this year? He has no weapons anyways. I mean, Edelman is your wide receiver one, certainly a lot better than Ted Ginn, who
Right.
Cam Newton was the MVP during that season in the regular in real football and fantasy. So it will be intriguing. I'm not worried too much about the weapon argument with him. It's just a matter of, to me, health right now. And obviously that's where our next question is. Foot the Linsfrank's injury, not as impactful for quarterbacks as wide receivers, but still certainly not good. The tough shoulder injury from 2018. You got concussions, knee strains, ankle, ribs, a bunch of just a litany of injuries that kind of come with that style of play with him. That's obviously got to make you nervous, especially the fact that you couldn't get a physical or a workout really in with COVID. So, how big of a concern do you sense that's going to be with Cam Newton, the health factors and everything?
Well, I think it's a factor too, not only just how he is now, but if he is healthy, can he play at the same, like, can he be the same quarterback that he was? Like, can he run the ball? Can he take all those hits? Can he, be the run first quarterback that we're used to seeing him being, or does he have to sort of change his play in a way and be more of a guy that's, not going to take as many chances with his body and maybe slide more, maybe not as run as much. And so I'm wondering what kind of Cam Newton we're going to get. Is it going to be the same guy that's going to, run the ball? I saw a stat, like the Panthers won over 70% of their games when he has 8 or more carries, something like that. So he's, when he's on the move and he's making plays with his feet, his team wins. But how long is that sustainable? And we've already seen, him missing basically all of last year because of injuries. Can he be the same guy with the Patriots, and do they want him to be the same guy? Maybe it's a case where they don't care. They know him that he's only for 1 year, and if he gets hurt, so be it. Like, they don't have to. They have no long-term, contract with him. So maybe they do say, "Hey, be yourself, and see you later after next year. Thanks for whatever you give me this year." So I'm just wondering what type of quarterback he is. Will he be the same guy we're used to seeing, or will he be more of a pocket passer where he's not, willing to make as many plays with his feet.
I love that point too, that you're only on a 1-year prove it deal. You almost talk about that with running backs in fantasy a lot, like Gurley going to the Falcons. Well, they don't really care if they ride the wheels off him because he's going there. You don't typically think of that as a quarterback, but obviously with Cam Newton, that's a huge part of why he's such a fantasy value is the running. So you're right, if it's not a commitment to him as a franchise QB, and they just, running options and all that, could be a huge ultimate stat line, again, assuming health, which is a huge assumption right now. Huge if, because we still don't even know if he's fully healthy himself without those physicals and whatnot. Ultimately, that's where his upside's unlocked, though, that rushing. So I love that point there. The stat I did see, in addition to some of the ones you were giving, was in fantasy, he's been the QB5 or higher in any season that he's played 16 games. So that's, intriguing upside. I think a lot of that is the rushing, because if he can rush and stay healthy, it's huge. But there's certainly some upside. The last time he was on the field, too, was the QB3 in fantasy points per game, 24 points per game in weeks 1 through 8 of 2018. And that's the one other thing I lean to is, that seems the outlier. Again, as I mentioned, he had DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, had some good weapons, and Norv Turner kind of crafted a shorter game. Christian McCaffrey, obviously, as well there. And he was, 10th in passer rating, I think 12th in QBR. So there's some things that you don't typically see from those Cam Newton stat lines that give me a little faith he's got that accuracy and can get it done. But could be the outlier season as well. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting mesh. If you had to predict, does it work out? Does he play 16? Or is this going to be the Stidham show? How do you see it all unfolding?
I guess I kind of have to say it's going to play out like he's going to play 16 games. I mean, pending he stays healthy. He's going to be the Patriots starting quarterback. They're going to buy, Jarrett Stidham another year to sort of, get acclimated to the NFL, all that. And then they'll take things as they go after that. Do they, could they potentially just let Cam walk as a free agent? Because if he has a good year, he's probably going to get tons of contract offers with a lot of money, and the Patriots probably aren't going to do that. So maybe, I guess my prediction right now, they ride the wave with Newton. He gives them a solid year. It's a win-win for both sides. We've seen it with other guys like Darrell was Revis, because he played and got a good year, and then got another big contract with the Jets that off season. Martellus Bennett, he was a one and done. They've done it before with guys where they're veteran guys. They come to New England to sort of get their next big contract and then they move on. So I guess that's sort of my prediction, where it'll be a win-win for both sides.
I hope so. As a Pats fan, a fantasy fan, a good win-win would certainly be solid. Does this worry you at all, before we move on from the QB situation, about Stidham's long-term development? How do you kind of think he handles this move, especially if he loses the job and has to sit again all year after expecting to be the starter?
Well, yeah, that's where my biggest question on the signing is, how is Stidham going to handle this? Did the Patriots talk to Stidham ahead of time, saying, hey, look, we still believe in you, we really like you down the road, we just want, you to get one more year, working as a backup, seeing how things go in the NFL, and how does Stidham handle that? Is he saying, okay, or is he sort of questioning, do they really believe in me? What if Newton has a great year? Do the Patriots keep him? And then where does it land for him? So, it's a sort of what you think of Stidham. Does he have a lot of mental toughness, and can he handle it? And if you think that's the case, then this, move really is a no-brainer for the Patriots, because Stidham's so young. But if you worry about his sort of mental makeup and mental capacity with how he handles this, then I would be a little bit concerned, because Cam Newton's probably not your quarterback of the future. And so then you have to wonder, you're pretty much back to square one, where you have to find the next guy, whether that's via the draft or spending, big next offseason.
I think that's a great point. The measuring stick is, how else are you going to figure out that mental toughness without giving him some real competition to either have to rise to and beat, or to kind of sit behind and figure out how hungry it makes him? Because if he can't handle that, ultimately, do you really want him long term anyways, if all he had to do was beat out Brian Hoyer to start and kind of gets almost gift wrapped it? I kind of like it. I'm hoping that is a measuring stick to his mental toughness, and either he gives him a great run, and whether he takes over or not, or it just, you see him really just own it and move on and mature from it is what I hope to see. You're right, it could be detrimental, but ultimately, if it was going to be detrimental, he's probably not going to be the guy anyways. So,
it could motivate him in the preseason and training camp, where he, who knows? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but he'll be given the opportunity to win the job. And if Jarrett Stidham is playing better than Cam Newton, Belichick's going to give the job to the guy that's playing best.
Right.
So, he could use it to his advantage.
What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.